You've probably heard about dopamine detox. Lock yourself in a room, stare at a wall, no phone, no music, no fun. Sounds awful, right? The idea is that by starving your brain of stimulation, you'll reset your dopamine levels and suddenly find joy in folding laundry. But what if I told you that this popular version of a dopamine detox is mostly a myth, and that the real, science-backed approach is something completely different, and frankly, a lot less miserable? Today, we're diving into the dopamine detox nobody talks about, the real version. Forget the extreme deprivation. We're going to explore what dopamine actually is, how it really works in your brain, and how you can manage it to feel more motivated, focused, and fulfilled without turning your life upside down. This isn't about becoming a monk. It's about understanding your own brain's reward system and making it work for you, not against you. So, if you're tired of feeling burnt out, constantly scrolling, and chasing the next cheap thrill, stick around. This might just change the way you think about motivation forever. First, let's clear up a huge misconception. Dopamine is not the pleasure molecule. It's the motivation molecule. It doesn't give you the feeling of pleasure itself. It's the chemical that drives you to seek out things that your brain thinks will bring you pleasure or reward. It's the go-get-it signal. When you anticipate eating a delicious meal, seeing a notification on your phone, or hitting a goal, your brain releases dopamine. It's what gets you off the couch. The problem isn't dopamine itself. It's essential for survival. The problem is what we're training our brains to chase. Think of your dopamine system like a seesaw. On one side, you have pleasure and reward. On the other, you have pain and effort. When you do something highly stimulating, like scrolling through an endless feed of super engaging short videos, your brain gets a massive, easy hit of dopamine. The pleasure side of the seesaw slams down, but your brain craves balance, or homeostasis. So, to counteract that huge spike, it pushes down on the pain side. This is why, after hours of scrolling, you don't feel amazing. You feel drained, foggy, and a little empty. Your baseline level of motivation and happiness has temporarily dropped. This is the core of the issue. Our modern world is a minefield of supernormal stimuli. These are amplified, easily accessible rewards that our brains were never designed to handle. Junk food, social media, video games, endless streaming content. They provide a fire hose of dopamine with almost zero effort. Over time, your brain adapts. The dopamine receptors in your brain actually downregulate, meaning they become less sensitive. It's like listening to music with the volume on max all day. Eventually, you can barely hear it at a normal level. This is why things that used to be enjoyable, like reading a book, going for a walk, or having a deep conversation, start to feel boring. They can't compete with the digital fireworks display. You need more and more stimulation just to feel normal. So, the popular dopamine detox, the one where you do absolutely nothing for 24 hours, is based on a flawed premise. It's like trying to fix a bad diet by just not eating for a day. Sure, you might feel a little different afterward, but if you go right back to eating junk food, you haven't solved the underlying problem. It's the same with your brain. Extreme fasting from all stimulation is unsustainable and often leads to a rebound effect, where you binge on even more high dopamine activities as soon as it's over. The real dopamine detox isn't a detox at all. It's a dopamine diet. It's about consciously choosing what you feed your brain's reward system. It's not about eliminating dopamine. It's about resensitizing your brain to the healthy, natural rewards that lead to long-term fulfillment. The goal is to shift your sources of dopamine from low-effort, high-reward activities to high-effort, high-reward activities. Let's break down how to actually do this. The first step is what I call a stimulation audit. You can't change what you don't measure. For 1 week, track your high dopamine habits. Be brutally honest. How much time do you spend on social media? How often do you snack on sugary foods when you're not hungry? How many hours of TV or YouTube do you watch? Write it all down. You might be shocked at the results. This isn't about judging yourself. It's about gathering data. Once you have a clear picture, you can identify your biggest dopamine traps. For most of us, it's our phone. It's a slot machine in our pocket, designed to keep us hooked. The second step is to introduce intentional friction. We want to make it slightly harder to access those cheap dopamine hits. If your phone is the problem, don't rely on willpower alone. Willpower is a finite resource. Instead, change your environment. Turn your phone screen to grayscale. It instantly makes it less appealing. Delete the most addictive apps, or at least move them off your home screen into a folder with a complicated name. Set app time limits. Leave your phone in another room when you're working or trying to relax. The goal is to create a small pause between the impulse and the action. That tiny bit of friction gives your prefrontal cortex, the logical, planning part of your brain, a chance to step in and ask, do I really want to do this right now? Now for the most important part, step 3. Embrace structured boredom and effort. This is the part that truly resets your dopamine baseline. You need to strategically replace the cheap dopamine with something more meaningful. This doesn't mean staring at a wall. It means engaging in activities that require effort but provide a deeper, more lasting sense of accomplishment. This is where the magic happens. Think about activities like reading a physical book, learning a new skill like playing an instrument or coding, exercising, or even doing chores you've been putting off. At first, these things will feel hard. Your brain, accustomed to easy rewards, will scream in protest. It will tell you this is boring and pointless. You have to push through that initial resistance. This is the effort part of the equation. A powerful technique here is to schedule focus blocks. For 30, 60, or 90 minutes, you commit to a single, effortful task with zero distractions. No phone, no email, no multitasking. It will feel uncomfortable. You'll feel the urge to check something, to get that little dopamine hit. But if you resist that urge, something amazing happens. Your brain starts to release dopamine not from the outcome, but from the process of focusing itself. This is the key. You are retraining your brain to associate effort with reward. When you finish that focus block, you don't just feel relieved, you feel accomplished. That feeling is a much higher quality, more sustainable form of satisfaction than what you get from 1,000 likes on a photo. It builds self-esteem and momentum. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the less you crave the cheap stuff. Let's tie this all together with a practical plan. This isn't a one-day fix. Think of it as a 30-day challenge to recalibrate your brain. Week 1 is your audit and friction week. Track your habits and start making it harder to access your biggest time wasters. Delete those apps, put the cookies on a higher shelf, and turn your phone to grayscale. Week 2 is about introducing structured boredom. Schedule one 30-minute focus block each day. Pick a task, reading a book, learning a language on an app, tidying a room, and do it without any distractions. It will be tough, but stick with it. Week 3, you're going to level up. Increase your focus block to 60 minutes a day. And add one new rule. No phone for the first hour you reawake and the last hour before you go to sleep. This is huge. Morning phone use hijacks your day's motivation before it even starts, and evening use messes with your sleep, which is critical for brain health. Replace it with journaling, meditating, stretching, or talking with a loved one. By week 4, you should be feeling a difference. Your focus will be sharper. You might find yourself reaching for your phone less. You might even start enjoying the effortful tasks. Now, you can start to strategically reintroduce some of the things you cut out, but with intention. Want to watch a movie? Great. Plan it. Sit down and actually watch it, without scrolling on your phone at the same time. You'll enjoy it more. This process is about moving from being a passive consumer of dopamine to an active director of your own motivation. It's not about perfection, it's about intention. There will be days you slip up, and that's okay. The goal is progress, not purity. The real dopamine detox is a lifestyle, not a fad diet. It's about building a life where your greatest rewards come from your greatest efforts. It's about rediscovering the joy in the journey, not just the cheap thrill of the destination. You have the power to rewire your brain for focus, motivation, and true fulfillment. It starts today. Thanks so much for watching. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments what your biggest dopamine trap is. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on how to use science to build a better life. See you in the next one.